Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what a day in the market. And yesterday it was all about, are we going up or down, up or down? And today it was all about, nope, we're just going straight up, shorts covering, everything else is just going nuts. And it's all about the futures market. Wait till I show you what they did overnight. Oh, I haven't seen one of these and it's been a long time, as a matter of fact. And again, if they turn these money printers back on, because you got all these central banks cutting right now, then, the rich love it because they get much, much richer, folks. And again, what do you see happening? More fuel in the fire today. Unemployment claims came in way less than expected, and now you're seeing them turn over again. All of a sudden, it was, oh, we're going to recession. The numbers are terrible, and all of a sudden now it's like, wow, a lot more people aren't filing for unemployment claims anymore. Wonder what happened there. And then this is the funniest one. And again, I find it suspicious that literally 2 weeks, basically 7 to 10 days out, industrial and manufacturing data are starting to, somewhat come out of contraction and reporting way better than what the estimates were. Okay, and you're like, it's the timing I find suspicious. I really do find it suspicious that that is the case, because I'm listening to a whole lot of earnings calls, and I don't see where this data adds up to what the earnings calls are saying. But hey, who knows? Now, tomorrow, quad witching, $5.1 trillion worth of options expiring. I don't remember ever reporting $5 trillion on a quad witching. I know I've done $4 trillion before, so let me know in the bottom if you've ever seen a number that big on quad witching. I mean, that is an amazing amount of options expiring, okay? Please hit the like and subscribe button. Now, when you look right here, you can see this is what I'm talking about when we talk about futures. I said, hey, wait for these equal odds to get taken out. They're begging for it, and then usually get a reversal. Here's when you don't get a reversal. When you see this right here, and then market closes, and then the futures open back up at 6, right? And then at 8, you got Japan coming on, and then of course Europe's going to come on later on than that. But man, look at that candle right there. I mean, they just start pumping this thing big time. It goes up almost 4%, retest, and then just takes off the rest of the night. So, again, most of us are sleeping at 4:45 a.m. But by the time they hit 9, again, we didn't even hit before 8:30, before we even hit the news candle, it was up almost 2% right there on the NQ. But then when you look over here at RTY, which is IWM, right? Futures of it, the Russell 2000, that is. Oh my goodness. I mean, you see the mess they did yesterday. Okay, run it up, sold it back down almost to where it was. And then when the futures open up, man, this thing rockets. And by 6:45, over 3% up. By 6:45 a.m. And then, of course, the strange thing was what they do. Started selling it back down. And it kind of basically, even when the market opened up, kind of just kept either going sideways or down. But, the Qs end up being number one, as you'll see. But something to watch out for on this one is the area we ended in and started selling back down has been a spot where, you see sell-offs happen, right? So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like a sell-off could happen. Doesn't have to be a big one, okay, at all. Or you get a small pullback and then it busts through that area, which would be huge. And then that white line up there at 20,971.50 would be my target for that one if you bust through that area. Because you can see, going back to July, it's been a major problem for this one. And right here, I'm talking about the Qs. 2.5% was up over 3, like 3.15, I believe. When you have all the index going this much, basically there's no shorts left at this point in time. Okay, they've covered. They're rotating money out of what? Utilities, defensives, going into what? And this is kind of strange to me. Going into the semiconductors, the Mag 8 right here, the large tech and stuff is leading the way. Okay, home builders, no surprise there. And then, of course, you got some small caps right there. And so you can see what was green. I don't know if it surprised you. It did surprise me because usually rate cuts, you're thinking, okay, small caps are going to lead the way. High flying stuff is going to lead the way. And what we talk about, watch the high flyers. And they were green, but nowhere near what they have been doing over the last week, maybe 10 days worth. And so it's pretty obvious shorts were covering, right? Because they didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't want to get caught in that and lose profits, right? And then for them to go into it really was the safe play, right? Semiconductors, the mega caps, which, I mean, no risk for them as far as going under anything, got hundreds of billions sitting in cash. And they went into Google and Amazon, which were getting beat down, right, more than some of the others, versus like a Meta or something. And then you got the semiconductors, which I showed you have been getting beat down. They were trying to break out again, so they went up and loaded back up into them. So it really is more of a safer play when you think about it, where the money loaded up to, and obviously rotating out of what? Utilities and defensive, which they've been running up, okay? And so the Feds, everybody's message you're seeing over Twitter going, no recession anymore, right? Which, I mean, honestly, it's like when you looking at a recession, I always say there's not going to be a recession now. We're not in a recession. But next year, that's what you got to be looking for. But that's months and months away. And that's why you always see the stock market is not the economy. The economy is not the stock market. And you get these crazy moves. And so, we'll get through quad witching tomorrow, right? And really, maybe next week you get more of an idea like where, if any rotation is still happening, where it's going to happen to and what's going to push this market up. And what the market loves to do more than anything is pick a laggard, right, to move up. And what's been lagging? The NASDAQ, the QQQ, way behind the S&P, right? S&P setting all-time highs. Dow setting all-time highs. That's why you see shorts covering today because they're like, okay, we got no resistance on the Dow, no resistance on the S&P, and it looks like they're trying to push up the Qs to try to get it to all-time highs, right? QQEW was just roaring today. It was at one time double what RSP, the equal weighted ETF for the SPY, which of course is what? All-time highs as well. And so it was like it may be trying to play catch-up, so watch for the catch-up play. Now, of course, one thing that obviously was helping four stocks that were helping the Qs pump really hard were these right here, Nvidia and Tesla, most bullish flow. Options flow just rolling in for these two stocks. You saw Tesla, huge day today, up almost 8% at one time today. But again, look what they did. Right there. I said until proven innocent, you're still in a rising wedge. And they left it right there to the penny at the top of that rising wedge. And what do we say? We said if it breaks out of this, and obviously they fill that gap to the penny right there. But if it breaks out of this, then hey, it's not a rising wedge anymore. All right. What does it go back to? It goes back to the channel, which I originally had drawn to begin with. Okay. And so that's what we'll be in. And if it goes back into being that channel, then you look at the top of the channel and you go, okay, what can it get to? 255, 260, somewhere in there, depending on when it hits it? Yes, absolutely. So if the bullish flow continues, it can go to the top of that channel. Okay. But until proven otherwise, this still again is a rising wedge, which normally breaks to the downside. But right now, you got option flow just pumping this thing like insanely, as you saw today. I mean, that was a nutty day. Man, you're talking about high flying stocks. Didn't anywhere near that today. And here's Tesla, a mega cap, flying almost 8%. And so again, we're right back there in the rising wedge at the very top. Because what are they trying to run this up to? To Robotax today, right? But if we start getting some pressure down, okay, we got crazy quad witching tomorrow and everything else coming, right? Then it's just the bottom of that channel, the bottom of that trend line right there. So around 224, 225. All right, keep that in mind. Now Nvidia, again, the most bullish flow, which was only up 4 or 5% today, which is a good day for Nvidia. And this one is above the 50 now. It's above the 21. It's above the 100. All that fun stuff, still sitting right there, that shaded area. And when we look, I didn't see anything, no kind of level or moving average that will stop it like this. So really, that's 3 rejections right there at that level. So if you're looking at it, if we can break above this, obviously the white line right there in the trend line between 123 and 124 is going to be your target. Again, guilty till proven innocent to break out of this. They've been wedging it. If it ends up falling down, break the shaded area, you do have that daily fair value gap between 108 and 113, somewhere in there. So that's your targets on Nvidia. What else is helping move this whole thing up as far as the Qs? Google, we talked about. This is 7 straight days, I believe, green. And we got in that volume gap. And we said if it gets in the volume gap, it's going to go fast, right? To get up to this area around 163-ish. And that's what's happened. Okay, you go to Amazon. Look at this one right here. Plain and day. This is another one. We talked about the volume profile, which we'll bring up. This is another one has a lot of green days to it. But if it gets above this area right here, boom, it can go pretty quickly to 193 if this keeps up. So, and that's what it's working on right now. But it has plenty of support down below. If it does come back, we'll get rid of all these trend lines right here. Don't need those anymore after this breakout. And so again, if it comes back down, 187, 188 should provide decent support. But 192 is going to be that target. If it continues to move up past there, there's hardly any resistance. Now, SHOP, RSI, all the momentum indicators look good. Many green days on this one right here, as you can see. The key to this one is where it's at right now. What stopped it today? What stopped it today has stopped it many, many, many times, okay? But when you look at levels, if it can get through what we're about to talk about, then this gap right here is going to be in play. And again, there'll be hardly any resistance up here once you get past this. So upwards around $88, the top of that gap. But when you look, it's the 200 weekly moving average. It stopped it there. And if you go back in the past, you can plainly see rejection, 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 rejection. And then when it finally breaks through, that's when we got our last top right there. Can you see it? I mean, it just rocketed shit. It rocketed through there. once it got rejected like 9 times. And so if it breaks above this, you can go ahead and bet all-time highs are definitely going to be in the cards, okay? Now, you might notice FedEx got destroyed in after hours, down almost 10%. Again, why? Because the companies ran horribly, slower demand for it. Again, we'll wait till UPS reports to kind of compare the two. And so it was lower after a double miss. But of course, when all else failed and you can't grow your company anymore, what do? You repurchase shares, right? You try to stop the bleeding. Market loves that more than anything. So, that's what they offer to do. No surprise. But again, transportation's been going hot as can be, and it could be a company thing or it could be an actual slowdown. If you're in the business, let us know, right? Nike, you might notice it did nothing all day. It was like 0.1% up. And all of a sudden, oh, so when you open your portfolio tomorrow and you own Nike, you're going to be really happy because it's up almost 8%. What happened? CEO's finally retiring, and some other dude is taking over. So people love that right there as well. And so this one's up big. We'll see how much of the gains it actually holds on to. Might notice Darden today, big restaurant company we talked about. Even though it actually missed on a bunch of different things, it went up almost 8% today. All right, here's all-time highs. So it's sitting there with a double top right now. We'll see if that can continue. And what I'm talking about when I say missed, a lot of the analyst expectations just didn't get met, right? As I told people in the morning news brief. The thing is, we're still eating out, though. Okay, so keep that in mind. But you can see basically when they did the EPS, the results missed Wall Street expectations. The average estimate of 13 analysts surveyed by Zacks Investment Research was for $1.81, so it wasn't too bad off. And also, Olive Garden and other chain restaurants posted revenues of $2.7 billion in the period, which also missed street forecast, but didn't matter. Okay. Then you had Cracker Barrel. This right here is a whole different story here. One's setting in almost all-time highs. This one right here comes in. You can see, it's hardly really any growth going on right here. And I happen to know those in well because I'm from the South, and there's a whole lot of locations of these in the South. But when you look at this stock, oh, what a hot mess. Below 2020 levels, 76% down. Ugh, that's a mess. Let me know if you're in that one. Now, Bob, us might ask about what it's all about, this volume gap. We always talked about if you can get momentum in these. And again, I don't see anything coming out of China positive. But those rate cuts seem to definitely stimulate everything because all the Chinese stocks were positive. So again, this one's coming up to a gap. No gaps love to fill. Stop right there at the gap. So if it gets above that, 92 is your next level to look at on BABA. Again, it's not just a BABA thing. Like everything was green coming out of China. So they did these rate cuts yesterday, big time. So we'll see if that continues. So let me know what you think about tomorrow as far as like you think it's going to be green or red. Then going into next week, what do you think? Because we talked about Jim Carson. If you hadn't seen that video I posted at the end where you can hear him talk about September OPEX, why it's so big and everything. And so we'll see what happens on that one. As usual, if you got any questions for Saturday's video, put them in the bottom. Please hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. Really appreciate everybody who watches the videos and shares them. Want to sign up for the membership? Feel free to do it. Less than a McDonald's combo. There's everything you get. I can promise you definitely get your money's worth. Anyway, I'll end up seeing you guys Saturday, so have a great night.